And I am live. Yes. Hey guys, it's Mark again. Um, I just wanted to come on here to make this quick video. Um, just kind of a random chit chat video, I guess, or a review. Um, it's actually on a couple of books. One is a relatively new one that came out around this time last year. A little bit earlier, kind of more in the October-ish, around Halloween. It's called From Here to Eternity. It's by Caitlin Doherty. I won't talk too much about this one just yet. I've only read like the first chapter or two, so not too far ahead. I've actually bought a couple copies of this book. What's going on is this time last year I was getting ready for a move, getting some things put into storage for now, just to get ready for that move. But what happened is I had a copy of this book, and it was on the desk we were packing up, and so that book got packed and is currently sitting in storage somewhere. So I just bought the cheaper paperback so I could continue to read it and get back to it, and I will do a review on that one when I can. Another one I bought that's also currently in storage right now. It's one of many things in storage. I got a lot going on. Yeah. So I bought just so I can read it again and then recommend it to a friend who's been wanting it. It's called Smoke Gets in Your Eyes and Other Lessons from the Creamatory. But yeah, this one also was written by Caitlin Doherty. This is the first book. So this one came first. This one's like a sequel or a follow-up. This came next. Now I guess I'm good because I've got the hardcover and the paperback of both of these books. So they're part of a big old collection I'm starting. Here's another one I've got. I've gotten real big into reading lately, so these are just, so you'll get a review on Haunted Lakes as well, too. But back to what I'm here to talk about, as the title says, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. So this is the one I'm talking about today. It addresses a variety of topics. In this book, it talks about how Caitlin first started out, how she first, got into her current career as a mortician. It was one of two things she was doing at the time. She was working in San Francisco, LA, kind of that area. In San Francisco, I think it was at the beginning, as a crematory operator. And she was also tutoring school kids through school as well to earn a little extra cash at night. I think she talked about it briefly in the first couple chapters, but what she was talking about mainly was things she observed, certain cultural observances from the family she served, to some of the behaviors and kind of things she observed, like around co-workers, the owner of the crematory, and she also talks about a whole variety of funny and like comedic things that go on. I'm not gonna give too much. If I remember to do so, I'll eventually link to copies of both the hardcover and paperback of these books that I bought off of a dealer on Amazon. Yeah, I know I'm just all over the place. I'm sorry. It just, again, in a move, kind of getting things packed up, stored, cleaned out. Just got a lot going on, so I'm sorry if I'm like shifting and trying to get comfortable here. But it talks about things she observed, things she saw, things she experienced, and just gives her overall introduction into the death care industry and things that she saw. And it's a very good book, very comedic at times, very interesting as well. It talks about, in a way, it kind of goes back and forth. It talks about her beginning as a mortician, just starting out at the crematory, kind of the first thing she did out of mortuary school, and her educational background in mortuary school. It talks about, it kind of comes forward more into the present, talking about Undertaking LA, her current funeral home that she runs out in Los Angeles. It talks about the Order of the Good Death very briefly near the end, a charitable organization or a nonprofit, who I will also link to below. I recently signed up and became a member. Oh, yay! But they talk more about self-advocacy, advocacy for your loved ones in the death care industry, how things are not always so black and white. You don't need a mortician to do absolutely everything. Yeah, I know, how backwards, a mortician telling you don't need a mortician. But no, she advocates for alternative green burial, alternative cremation options, alternative forms of bodily disposition, showing that you don't need this big, expensive, elaborate ceremony or ritual to say goodbye to a loved one or to show them that you love them, which is something I kind of got on board with because, well, that's all I hear lately. When someone passes away, the family talks about, oh, how am I going to afford this? You know, we just to get the casket alone is going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. To do the embalming process they want to do, that's going to be like an extra few $100,000 or so. And then they charge you for burial permits, cremation permits, filing of death certificates. They do all that stuff these days, and apparently for every little thing charge quite a hefty price if you don't know who you're going to. I mean, I know it's kind of a broad generalization. Not all funeral homes are out to con you, but unfortunately, from what I've seen, what I've experienced with, you know, a few friends of mine, relatives in my own family who have passed, thankfully not very many in my lifetime, but I've just seen how people will struggle and go, you know, this is hard. I mean, there's the emotional loss for those who lost a spouse or a parent or another member of the family who is somehow, you know, a breadwinner who brought in income. You know, they are taking that financial loss, they're taking the emotional loss of that person, and now they have to take money that they no longer have coming in to spend. They now have to find a way to take that and spend upwards of $900 to $10,000. I mean, that's thousands of dollars for embalming, thousands for a casket, thousands just for the burial plot to put them in the ground. I think a friend of mine, she went and with her mother and her grandmother one time when her grandfather had passed, they had a cemetery where they were just going to cremate him and then inter the cremated remains or the cremains, and the little niche cabinet thingy where they were going to put his urn, they weren't even going to put him in the ground. They found like a mausoleum where they've got small spaces for cremated remains where they were going to put him, and just the space that they were going to put him in, that little cubby essentially is what it was. You know, it was just a little square cut out into the wall. It wasn't very big, but they wanted $1,200 for it, just for that space. But that just included the space to put him in. That didn't include the etching or the carving of letters into the gravestone on the front or the little memorial thingy. That didn't, you know, it didn't include all the other frills and dillies and things. You know, it was just a very basic price just for putting him in that space, and to carve out the extra, the thing for the tombstone or for the marker on the front, that alone ran them an extra $600 just for a basic package for that. And that to me was just really sad, because it's like, in a way, that's why people think things that they do about the funeral industry, why they think it's a scam, why they think people are out to con you in your time of grief or in a time of need, because in some ways it feels like they are. I mean, they don't, they don't include everything. They don't create any kind of a package. They just say, here's the different tiers or different levels and packages for things you can get. Oh, but by the way, that'll be 1,000. This will be 500. This will be 600. That'll be, and then before you know it, it's all, there's a statement or a bill like this long of services you've selected, products you've selected, and it all adds up. And that's why I kind of liked Caitlin's channel when I first found it. I think I was Googling, admittedly, shortly after hearing a friend of mine, her father had passed, and I will admit there's a part of me that's been, like, especially as a child, a younger adult, afraid of death, and just completely, it wasn't something I ever really wanted to talk about. And so she also had stated, oh, we're gonna cremate him. And so it's like, you know, what exactly is cremation? Like, what is it gonna do? And so I was Googling it around on YouTube, and when watching the videos and some of the things that I had found, I stumbled on Caitlin's channel, Ask a Mortician. Again, that will be linked below if I think to do it. It talked about, you know, in that video she talked, you know, about cremation, you know, what it is, kind of a breakdown step by step of, you know, how it works, what happens. There's a video she posted a couple months back about what happens to you chemically or like like a cell or organic level as that process goes on. It talked about, you know, the body's response, how the crematory operator will respond to certain situations. And then I realized, hey, wait a minute, this is a channel. It's got, like, videos on it. This isn't just somebody who's got, like, 1 or 2 videos in her channel, and that's it. It's a full-length channel full of everything. So I just started watching, and I found her videos to be very funny, very comedic. At times when they needed to be, in a way, kind of serious, but still to the point, and it's kind of evolved my whole experience. I mean, I'm not fetishizing death in any way. I don't want to die, but it has opened my eyes and made me more interested in that community. I found, you know, some other books to read that I might buy here and just kind of come and see what they look like, and it made me join the Order of the Good Death. I've got some of the merch from their store, as you could probably see. I got one of their shirts. It's one of a couple of things of theirs from their store that I have, that I've bought recently. And it's been great fun. And then just watching her channel grow, watching Undertaking LA grow. I also, again, recently, a couple months back already, wow, where does the time go? I saw a video where she was talking about, oh, we're, you know, expanding, we're getting to a point now where, you know, we need a bigger building, because their home isn't, you know, full service, like traditional. They'll help plan services, they'll help arrange with people and their families, like kind of what they want to do. But it's gotten to a point now where they've had to expand. They've had to move into a bigger building, increase their operations, and I think that's very exciting, because they don't do, in her home, they don't do the traditional chemical embalming, expensive casket. No, they do alternatives. So the green burial, where you just simply wrap a body in a shroud and bury it. No chemical preservations, no caskets. If you do want one, they do offer one made out of bamboo or some sort of willow grass product. So they're made of earthy products, not metals, not woods, not synthetic fabrics. It's all naturally handcrafted, hand-woven things from organically cultivated plants locally there in LA, which I think is awesome, because if you do still want that choice, but you want to be eco-friendly about it, that also gives you that ability to do so. And what's nice is her home also offers and advocates for cost effectiveness. So for example, a casket of woven willow or bamboo only runs, I think at most, she said $1,200 or so, which according to what she shared, what I've even seen just kind of looking around online after watching some of her videos, for a casket is quite reasonable. I've seen them go upwards of $6,000–7,000. I've seen them with all these inlays and fancy frilly whatever, and that's been like $6,000. Yeah, right. Like, I'm gonna spend that kind of money on a box, let alone a box that's just gonna go into the ground and rot. I mean, but apparently people will go to those lengths. So yeah, I mean, I'm not here to bash or poke fun. I mean, I know when someone's grieving, that one thing that they want to do for their loved ones, that one thing that's, I mean, it's what gets you through, and I get that, but just after seeing some of the things that happen in the industry and kind of having her expose some of kind of the nitty-gritty underground, yeah, I think some sort of natural, more cost-effective solution is what I'd go for. But anyway, that's what this book talked about, and wow, I've already made this almost a 20-minute video. If you're still here watching by this point, you know, hey, thanks for watching. But yeah, I was here to talk about this, just kind of, I'll leave the descriptions when I think of it, or when I've got a minute, because I'm doing this live here just so I can kind of post it and get going. I've got some things I got to do today still. But when I think of it, I'll come back and edit the description to have this in there. It really is a good book. It's a quick read. Like I said, when I come back from here to eternity, I'll leave some additional reviews about this, kind of about what's going on there. I mean, I've read the first chapter or two or so of this. It's been an interesting read. They've both been quick reads. And yeah, but I will also link to Caitlin's channel below, again, when I've got a second. And once I do, you guys should seriously go check her out. It's awesome. And I would highly recommend it. Highly recommend, you know, her books and checking out. When I link to that, I'll link to the Order of the Good Death, their website, if that's something you wanted to check out, or if you just need some answers or resources of your own, for your own experiences, your own research, planning, etc. I mean, it's a good place to start. So yeah, with that, you know, I leave you guys. Thank you again so much for watching. And if there isn't anything more I can say, it's, you know, have a great rest of your day, night, whenever you're watching this. Since that holiday is coming up as of just a few days from now, if those of you see it before then, have a happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, as always, blessed be. Bye, guys.